Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Brimlow, and today we're going to start our new unit on systems of equations. So I just wanted to take a minute to remind you that for each unit I provide a resource page. I'm going to move my face for a minute, and you can always find this under modules, and I'm going to leave it at the top of the most current module. So you'll find two different documents on this resource page. So the first one is the unit overview, basically sharing with you what we're going to be studying, the essential questions you should be able to answer by the end of the unit, and then the math practice standards, which are really the different skills that you're working on and gaining by completing these different math problems and these different skills. So it's not just the math itself, it's these lifelong skills that will help you in whatever setting you end up in. And then in the second Google Doc, there are some videos, websites, practice sites for you to look at. And I've also listed some suggested IXL strands. So if you are feeling like you need more practice, you have some downtime, anything related to this unit I've posted here. So, the first one says slope-intercept form, find slope and y-intercept. So if you need to work with that, you just click on it and it takes you right to IXL, okay? And I might add some more, or if you are looking for something and don't find it here, please don't hesitate to reach out and I will do my best to direct you. There is going to be a new packet available that you can pick up during school hours. Unfortunately, I was not able to get it ready as ahead of time as I would have liked. So for today's lesson, you're just going to watch and follow along and then try the IXL that goes with it, okay? So I'm just going to pull up my camera and get started. All right. So we're learning about something we call systems of equations, okay? And I don't want to get too much into this part yet because I want to kind of discover it. So I'm going to turn to our investigation today, okay? This is on page 5 of the packet. So if you want to come back and watch this and copy it when you have the packet, you can do that, okay? All right, so we're doing an investigation today in class to talk about and kind of discover systems of equations. So when we're looking at this, I'm looking at a coordinate plane, which we've been using to graph for a while now. I'm also noticing I have multiple equations in each problem, and they're all in slope-intercept form, so you should be able to graph them. So let's go ahead and go through problem number 1. And I'm going to actually use 2 different colors just to kind of see these a little bit better. I'm going to put stars next to them with the colors that I use, okay? All right, so in the first equation, I have y equals 4x minus 1. So my y-intercept is the constant by itself, -1. So that's where I start on the y-axis. And then 4 tells me I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4, and always over 1 because that's how I would write a whole number as a fraction. Just going to quickly draw a nice line through it, top to bottom. Okay. All right, so now I have positive 4 for my second equation. I'm going down 1 and over 1. Okay, so I see they're going to overlap here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line through it. Okay. So I want to pause and go back to the directions for a second. And it says solve each system by graphing. So we know how to graph, and we can see they have 2 equations for each problem. So what do they mean by solve? What am I looking for here? So let's talk about what we see. I have one function that has a positive slope, one that has a negative slope, okay? One has a y-axis that's negative and one has one that's positive. So if it's a solution or I'm solving something, it has to be the same for both. It has to work for both equations. So the only part I see that's working for both equations where they're overlapping is right here at this point 1, 3. Okay. So we would say that this place where they overlap, that coordinate that they have in common is their solution. Okay. Let's try another one. So here I'm going to start at -3. I'm going to go down 1 and over 2. Okay. Now, with some of these graphs, it might get to the point where you can't fit everything on here like you like. So you can also work backwards. So we're used to going from left to right, which is how I typically advise you to graph. But instead, you could do the complete opposite to still find points on your line. So instead of going down 1, we could go up 1. Instead of going to the right 2, we could go to the left. So we're going up and then back to the left. When you're working with systems, the more points you have, the better. So you have a more accurate point of intersection. So back 1 over 2. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to just draw my line through this quick. All right. And then now I have one more to graph, and that's +4. I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. So I can see this is where they are intersecting. Once again, the more points you have, I didn't draw my line well, but they would be intersecting at this point here. So this is 2, -4. Okay. The more points you have, the more accurate your line is, and the easier it will be to see what your solution is. Okay.